In this video, I'm going to give a basic introduction to Adobe Aero. Right now I am on the desktop version, which is available through the Creative Cloud. But we'll go through a brief tour of the user interface, setting up objects, and assigning them behaviors. So when you open Aero, you'll notice we get this 3D plane, and this is the world that you'll be setting your objects up in. And so over here on the right, bottom right, under properties, you'll see anchor type. You have horizontal, vertical, or image. Horizontal, you can imagine that's like the ground or a tabletop. Vertical is going to be more like a wall, and then image is something we'll go through in the future. But essentially, your designed experience is assigned to be anchored to a specific image in the real world. But on top of that, on the right side under scene, that's going to be all of our assets are going to show up. So you'll be able to click through and see like what assets you have. And then on the left side of the screen, we have import, which we will not be doing that just yet. Your selection tool, some selection options, such as move, if you want to move your asset, rotate or scale. And then on the very bottom here, this is going to be your view. So we have orbit, pan, and dolly. And the way I'm activating these is just using the mouse wheel, pressing down on the mouse wheel, and dragging. By default, right click is going to be orbit. Okay, so what's really nice about Aero is they come with quite a bit of preloaded assets. Some of them have animations with them, and you'll know that because there's this little tiny circle kind of next to the preview. So let's just get started setting up a real basic scene. And I'm going to import this chair, this dining table, and here it is, some flowers. Okay, so I'm going to close that window. We don't need that taking up space in our interface. So everything spawns in kind of at the same point around the world center, and obviously we don't really want things stacked up within each other. So you'll see this, you have the Y axis, the Z forward, and the X left and right. And the arrows will move the object, and the spheres will rotate, and the cubes will scale. Down under properties, when you have an object selected in properties, you can adjust where is this object going to pivot from. What is kind of like its personal anchor point. So you see I changed the pivot point, so it's center, or its origin, change it to top, so it will rotate from the top. And these are just things to keep in mind when you are setting up animations or interactions. You know, how is an object going to scale and rotate when it is interacted with? So I'm just gonna scale this down, scale this up, and I'm gonna move it so it kind of looks a little more realistic. And also this center circle, if you click and drag, it will allow for you to move it only to surface points. So, you know, it's not floating in the world. It's only, this feature kind of just allows you to realistically place it on top or around other objects. So maybe scale that up just a bit. So we have our scene, real basic. Over here, you know, again, your objects are going to show up. You can always close the viewport to hide them. But let's move this just a bit back. Okay. So at the very bottom left-hand corner is the behavior builder, and it is super user-friendly, basically taking if-then statements and applying them to objects. So the if, you have a choice of different triggers that will begin the behavior. So you have the choice to have an object moving when the user begins the arrow scene. The object's behavior will begin when the user taps it on their screen. When the proximity enter, when they get close, and proximity exit when they move away. And you can set the boundaries. So, for example, if the user comes within 10 centimeters of the object will do X behavior. But just for this basic demo, we're going to do a tap. And so you'll see it will give me this little scene, tap. Subject is empty. That's because I didn't have the chair selected originally. So I'm going to make sure that chair is selected. And then for this interaction, what I want to do is have the chair be pushed into the table. And you have this option for retriggering. So I guess I'll show you kind of what that means. What's going on? So I'm going to have this move 10 centimeters on the Z, play it just to get a preview. And right now I have allow for I can allow for this behavior to re-trigger after the action completes immediately, meaning that I can tap it while the behavior is active, or never. So once the behavior is executed, you cannot execute it again. Just to give you so basically what it looks like if you allow an action to be re-triggered, great, that looks, you know, I tapped it, move forward, I tap it again, oh, it's going through the table. But if I change that to never, tapping again, I can't move it forward anymore, so I can't have that collision happening. Alright, so let's just do like another quick animation, and I'm going to add a trigger for when the scene starts. I'm going to have the flowers bounce, and it's going to be bouncing on the y-axis. 10 is a little too high, so we'll change that to 2. And I can play it up here to preview. Cool. So a couple other things to keep in mind when you're designing interactions. There's going to be a duration. So how long does this this behavior last? The longer the duration, the slower it'll move. So if I change this to 10 seconds, you see it bounces very slowly. Whereas if it's 1 second, much quicker. There's also the way it eases into a behavior. So there's ease in and out, meaning there's like a kind of like a cushion where it starts off slowly and ends slowly. So it's not this super abrupt kind of jerky movement happening. Ease in, so you get that cushion only at the beginning, ease out, and you get that cushion at the end. And then linear, where it doesn't have that cushion at all. We'll do an ease in and out, give it like a gentle bounce on the table. And then you can also check, you can also mess with the play count. So maybe if my scene starts, I want it to play 4 times and then stop. Maybe I want it to bounce infinitely, which that's not what I want. You know what? That is what I want. So let's just take a preview. So you go up, preview, and I get this bouncing tulip vase, tap, and our chair is pushed in. So, yeah, the absolute basics. All right, awesome.